Alright, so I'm trying a new audio setting right now to kind of fix a problem I've been having where there's been so much sound overpowering my voice. People have been commenting on it, so I'm trying something new. We're going to see how it goes. But episode 41 and 42. Not going to really give much of an intro. Here we go. Of course, I'm going to put the description down below. You all know already. Here we go.
The Ultramarines' fleet was in disarray. The unexpected loss of over half of their fleet to the uncontrolled warp jump, thanks to the hijacking at the hands of the Men of Iron, with the combined arrival of the Death Guard fleet and assaults at the hands of the Rogue Wolves, resulted in many of the Ultramarine ships breaking rank, some even retreating away from the battle. Azek Araman saw this as the perfect opportunity. He ordered for the boarding torpedoes to be filled with 1,000 Sons assault troops and launched the remaining Ultramarine ships. Araman and the remaining librarians of the Legion would use their powers to guide them directly into the very bridges of the ships to take them out in swift strikes.
Nice.
As the torpedoes launched, the Death Guard and Word Bearers joined in the counter-assault. Lorgar punched the air in preemptive triumph. The battle was turning in their favour. On Terra, the loyalist Ultramarines battled to save the civilian population from the unnatural hungers of the Blood Angels. Aeonid Thiel swung his power sword against the master-crafted blade and carmine of Sanguinius. The perverse Primarch effortlessly blocking and parrying the blows with one hand, smiling and laughing like a petulant child. He wasn't even trying to defend himself. He was finding himself quite entertained at the spectacle of a lesser being even thinking he could challenge a Primarch.
That's always nice.
Thiel knew that if Sanguinius actually tried to do so, he could easily break him in half, but carried on regardless. Lionel Johnson watched from a distance. He turned his gaze back to the Imperial Palace and began to hear the chatter of the communications feed of panic from the forces in Orbis. He began to reconsider his choice in joining the War Master, thinking of who to side with, and how he would cover up his treachery. Perturabo and the Mournival continued their command of the defense of the Imperial Palace. Perturabo watched as the traitors began to start breaking through the gates. Whatever the Emperor's plan was, he hoped it would work. Ezekiel Abaddon and the Lunar Wolves' First Company fought along the battlements as the traitors' assault troops began scaling the walls. Abaddon singled out the Imperial Fist's first captain, Sigismund, who led the assault. Abaddon gripped his power sword tight and bellowed a challenge to the so-called Black Knight. Sigismund lowered his blade to Abaddon, accepting the challenge, and in the swirling chaos of the melee, the two captains marched towards one another. Like knights of ancient legend, the two captains rained blow after blow after blow onto one another, as their great blades, each strike leading to a block, to a sweep, to a sidestep.
Abaddon shouldn't win this.
Sigismund was good. He was very good. But Abaddon had the righteous blessing of the Emperor himself behind him.
Okay.
After several minutes of intense dueling, Abaddon impaled the Imperial Fist's captain before casting his body back over the walls with a sweep of his lightning claw. Abaddon looked around, searching for the next being to challenge the Emperor's champion.
Alright, so I was not expecting Abaddon to kill Sigismund. That just... I get it, though. I really do. If anything, if the roles were perfectly reversed, Sigismund would be the one to take over, and the Black Templars would be a chaos thing, rather than Imperial. But in any case, here we are, episode 42. I hope you guys are ready. Here we go.
Upon the Ultramarines' flagship, Bjorn and the rogue wolves cut their way through the Ultramarines who stood in their path. Bjorn's target was Rebute Gilliman himself, the man who led his legion down the path of corruption. Bjorn reasoned that if they could kill Gilliman, then it would be a small redemption of the wolves in the eyes of the Emperor himself. They sprinted down the corridors until they encountered the ferocious Primarch. Bjorn smiled a predator's grin. Finally, his chance for redemption had come. Bjorn charged the Primarch, bringing his lightning claw to bear, but Gilliman grabbed the wolf by the wrist, and with a sudden motion, ripped Bjorn's arm from its socket, causing him to howl in agony, spraying blood all over the walls. The drops that touched the weapon's energy field fizzed and sizzled with the stench of frying meat. Gilliman grabbed another rogue wolf and slammed his head through the wall with a sickening crack of pulping bone. One by one, he cleaved his way through the wolves, leaving a pile of bodies in his wake. Bjorn fought to his feet, drawing a knife that was maglocked to his hip. He turned to Gilliman and growled, "I'm still alive, you motherless bastard." Gilliman slowly turned to face the now one-armed Bjorn and smiled. If this dog so desired to be put down, then so be it. With a deafening crash, Conrad Kurz slammed into Gilliman from behind, and the two brothers clashed once more. Bjorn received a transmission from Araman. The Word-Bearer's fleet as a whole had a clear line of fire of the Ultramarines' flagship. Bjorn and his men needed to retreat. The wolf spat a mouthful of blood and nodded, before hobbling away reluctantly. The demonic creatures launched themselves at the Emperor, but the Emperor, despite his own objections, was a god incarnate. One by one, he banished the foul creatures back to the warp, cleaving the great unclean one in two with his flaming sword, tearing the head off the Lord of Change with his lightning claw, and vaporizing the Keeper of Secrets with sheer force of will, before finally dispatching the Bloodthirster, who managed to wound the Emperor with a crack of his burning whip. The Emperor, then in a motion as swift as daylight itself, charged towards his son, and the two locked blades, the flaming sword of the Emperor beginning to melt its way through Storm's teeth. The two were surprisingly well matched, matching blow for blow, neither managing to land a strike on the other. The gods of the warp had chosen Rogel Dawn as their champion, and Rogel Dawn will bring a new glorious golden age to humanity.
Yeah, that's debatable.
The Emperor told his son that he was deluded. The warp cannot be controlled, it cannot be bargained with. It was controlling him. The Emperor landed a mighty blow that knocked Rogel Dawn to the ground, and the Emperor raised his blade to finish him off. But for a split second, he hesitated. Yes, this man was a traitor. Yes, this man was responsible for the deaths of untold thousands. But this man was still his son. As the Emperor hesitated, Rogel Dawn let out a storm of warp lightning upon the Emperor, causing the Emperor to scream in pain. His divine features began to burn and wither. One of his eyes exploded within its socket, and the arm holding his flaming sword was severed at the elbow, causing the weapon to clatter to the ground and become extinguished. The Emperor fell down to one knee, struggling to stand, his features racked with pain. And Rogel Dawn stood above, looking down on him.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm loving what he did with Conrad Kurz in this. I am a fan of Kurz. I have been a fan of Kurz for a very long time. I love the way he was written in most of the books of the Horus Heresy. I'm loving what he is doing with him right now. the explanation for Dorn being able to do what he did to the Emperor, okay, I'm perfectly in line with that. I'll catch you guys for episode 43 and 44. I'll have everything down in the description. I'll see you guys then.